Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
I am Amelie.
I'm AJ Beckles.
So nice to meet you.
And
guys.
I'm Michelle.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate you all. Should we introduce ourselves? Should we do that? Yeah. Remember?
Go ahead.
I'm AJ. I'm actually AJ. I'm sorry, guys. I lied. I play Takemichi Hanagaki in Tokyo. I always forget what I'm in. In Tokyo Avengers. I just announced I play Sugalite in Honkai Star Rail, which is cool. Matt in Digimon 2020, Poison Mushroom Cookie, Michizo Tachihara and Bungo Stray Dogs, and other stuff. So thank you. Yeah.
Hey, Honkai Love. Hello. My name is Amelie. I voice Marin Kitagawa in My Dress Up Darling, Jingliu in Honkai Star Rail,
Yeah.
and Uta in One Piece Film Red, among many others.
And I'm Michelle Rojas, and I play Yamato in One Piece.
Yeah, you do.
Shion in the Slime anime, Toka in Day Day Live, Roxy in Mushoku Tensei, and I'm sure there are a million. Chahane in Solo Leveling, and just a whole bunch of others.
Yay.
So first off, welcome to North Carolina. Is this anybody's first time here?
Yeah, I've never been
mine.
here.
All three?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's give them a big
Thank
welcome.
you, guys.
Hey.
That's awesome. So when you are traveling, you're coming to do conventions, do you get a chance to get out, see things, eat, or is it fly in, hotel, convention, hotel, fly out?
Exactly that. People will say, "How did you like so-and-so city?" And I'll be like, "I see the table and the nice people, and that's about it." Sometimes I eat, but other than that, no, usually we just fly right back.
Yeah, my dad will be like, "Wow, you're going to so-and-so city? You'll have to see this, this, and that." And I'm like, "What? With what time, father?"
Everything closes when we're done.
Right? It's like the most you really get is maybe a dinner after, and a lot of times you're too tired and you order Domino's and you eat in the hotel.
But we get to meet cool people all
Exactly.
weekend, so it's all worth it.
I mean, let's touch on that. When you are recording, you go into a booth, you say your lines, you go home. Eventually, they end up on streaming, on television, at a movie theater, and you're like, I wonder if people like that, right?
Yeah.
But when you come here to an event like GalaxyCon, you get to see the people who you helped touch. Can you touch upon that, on what it's like to actually see eye to eye, shake hands, hug, get your photos with all these great people?
Yeah. You want to go? Oh. Okay. Yeah, it's super surreal because when I first started, it was during the pandemic, and like I was living in Massachusetts at the time, and like Tokyo Avengers, Digimon, all that was like done in my room. It's super weird, and it's very isolating. So being one of the lucky, couple people that gets to be invited to one of these things, because a lot of the times it is luck. Like you just happen to book a character that people really like. There's a lot of very deserving people that should be going to more of these, but to be able to see fans that really appreciate your work one-on-one is like the coolest thing in the world. Like the fact that people want my like personal scribble is the best. And in general, like the stories I get told and stuff like that, tears. It's a beautiful thing. So I appreciate every single one of you guys who has come up to me, or just fans in general. It's a blessing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, let us scribble on your stuff.
Yes.
No, I love it because I've been doing content creation long before I was doing voice acting. So sometimes people will come up to me and they're like, "I used to watch you when I was 6 years old," and like
Just
they're
like
a
that.
full-grown human, and I'm like, "Oh my lord!" Yeah. Literally. Yeah, so it's kind of cool to like see people from like all different eras of everything, and it's really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was just having a conversation with a fan earlier at my table about that exact thing, where I was like, we don't really get to see, like, one-on-one what this really means, like, what our performances mean to people. Like, the internet's full of information, but amazingly, you still really don't get that impression of like what that really means. So it's really cool to be able to go to these events and actually get to see the people that are affected by your work, and it's a really special
And
thing.
also, just real quick to add to that, something that I was told by Monica Real in like one of our first cons. Amazing, Monica Real, please clap. Amazing person. She kind of reminded me because I think sometimes we can't help but go online and look up and read stuff and be like, do they love me? 70 comments will be like, oh my gosh, did such a good job, and then there's gonna be one where he's like, oh my gosh, horrible, I hated the way that sounded, and I focus on that. And sometimes when you're unlucky, that happens a lot. That's all the comments. But when you go to a convention, it's usually people that genuinely just really, really like your work.
Yeah, luckily no one's waiting in line to go, I hated you in that. Okay,
Just
bye.
so you know. Yeah.
That'd be pretty great, actually. I actually laugh.
I respect it, you know.
Speaking of conventions, and not only seeing some great fans, but I'm going to ask, you know, since doing conventions, has there been that moment where you were at a table across the way in the green room, saw somebody in passing that you absolutely fanboyed out about?
Yeah. Yeah. And I try to, in general, when I'm thinking about it, when I'm like, because I'll look up the guest list, who's gonna be there? Maybe a friend or whatever. And I hear about, oh, Yuri Lowenthal, whatever. And then I walk to the back and I'm like, hi Yuri. I'm AJ. I really, and that's happened with him, Steve Bloom, and Troy Baker, because like, when I was self-taught and I watched all their stuff to like teach myself, I just copied them. So it's super crazy to be in the same. Oh my God, Johnny's here! I was like, oh my gosh, Johnny! I'm totally not freaking out, because he's like the bar I set myself to when I'm trying to like do anime and stuff. So yeah, it happens pretty often with voice actors. Not really celebrities too much, but yeah.
I mean, for me, right across from me, actually, at this con is Jodie Benson, the voice of the Little
know.
Mermaid.
Gosh.
And I saw that and I
forgot
went,
she's
oh
here.
my God. Because
And as a redhead, you're not influenced at all by.
we have a lot in common,
Right,
me and
yeah.
Ariel. Yeah. No, yeah, it was really cool. I was like, oh my God. But I've seen her at a few cons. I've just never been able to say hi, and probably never will, but I'll wave to her from across the way. Maybe we'll connect eyes.
Right. I don't know. Something's wrong with me, I guess. I don't really get starstruck or anything. So like when I'm back there, I'm just like, oh, they're here. That's cool. Like I mean, I guess because like for me, like I just sort of see like people as people, and so they're just another person in the world. So
There's gonna come a day where there's a very nuanced person, and you're gonna freak out and go, "Oh my God, it's so and so!"
You're not gonna know where it came from.
Yeah,
Or maybe
yeah.
not. Or maybe not.
Well, I'm
But
waiting
I
for
think
it.
maybe musical artists could get me that way because I
really?
did take you to that concert that one time when you were like, "Yeah, we're listening to Grandma's music." She didn't know who anybody was, and I was like, "Why don't you? They were great in the '90s." And it's completely
I just
lost.
like the vibe. I just-
But maybe, but yeah, I don't really, yeah.
At what point did you realize, was it while watching anime, watching cartoons, watching movies, did you realize, what was that clicking point that you were like, wow, this could be a career?
I don't think I ever had that moment. Well, it kind of. It was brought up to me. My cousin actually was like, "You should try voiceover," and I was like, "All right." And because he was like, "It's super easy and you make a lot of money." Not true. Not true at all.
Wish.
But that reeled me in high school, and then I was like, oh, let me do some research, and I saw Tara Strong, who's here, and like voices the coolest little boy on television as Timmy Turner, and I was like, a girl can do that? That's so cool. And then Phil Lamar and like all these people where I'm like, it doesn't matter how I look or anything like that, I can just do it, and it just, wow. So it was brought up to me. It wasn't really a moment where I was watching something and I was like, wait a second, that must be Tom Kenny. But yeah, that's how it happened for me.
That's so great. Like when you got your first role, did you call that friend and was like, "Hey, I did a thing that you"?
Well, it was my cousin. So he's always supported me since the beginning. So I love him a lot. He's like my big brother almost. So
Oh, I
yeah,
love
that's really
it.
cool.
Oh, so supportive, so cute. I don't think I ever really had this moment. Well, Maybe I had it recently. So I voiced Uta in One Piece Film Red, and there was a premiere that we got to do with like a red carpet and stuff. And I brought my mom and my dad, and my mom and my dad like still think that like I'll give up this pipe dream and like I don't know, be a doctor
One
or
day you'll
something.
learn.
I don't know. So I brought them to the premiere and like, just like to see their little like faces, be like, oh wait, this is actually kind of cool. What you yeah right. So yeah, maybe that was my like oh my god moment. But that was pretty recent. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I don't think I grew up like that, but I grew up doing theater and a lot of performance. So I was doing orchestra and I was doing choir and I was doing a lot of on stage stuff. So, but I also separately liked anime. That was like a separate thing. So I continued doing a lot of theater, and then I got into voiceover when I was in college, and from there, I just happened to get into anime, which was really cool because I like anime. So it worked out.
AJ, you mentioned Timmy Turner,
Yes.
which you might have a little tie to the Fairly Odd Parents family.
bit.
Yeah, anybody familiar? AJ, you want to tell us a little bit about maybe a little reboot coming out?
A little bit. Yeah, so I actually it was the craziest thing. I just so happened to know the wonderful woman that is playing Hazel. She's writing it, she's producing it, and she thought I would be good to play her brother. And I was like, no, me? And so I did the callback, and they really liked it. And he hasn't really had a big episode yet, but will. And I really hope people like. I mean, it's crazy that
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's literally wild.
they're revitalizing this series, and so many people like it. And they've tried to do that kind of a couple times, I feel like, with Fairly Odd Parents. And now people are actually latching onto it, and it's really cool to me because the cast is led by It's a black family, and people love it. And I'm like, wow. I get to be a part of that, so it's really, really cool. So when Anthony shows up, I really hope that everybody likes him because I like him.
That's awesome.
that's awesome.
Hey, congrats.
Thank you.
Michelle, I wanna talk to you about something that you have recently brought up, and that was you had abdominal surgery,
I did.
Wow.
I had surgery.
right? And you were worried, and I guess rightfully so, that it may affect your career, right?
It was weird and difficult. I was having a problem in my stomach, which I actually still have, but for like the last almost a year now, and it created this effect when I started placing my voices incorrectly because it would hurt when I was doing them the right way. I've never had a problem screaming in my entire life. I'm known for it in work, and so I was doing this and I was doing this, and for One Piece, we were trying to get caught up in the episode, so we were doing a lot of Yamato, and if you know anything about the show, Yamato screams a whole lot. And one day when we were working, I had suddenly my voice just stopped working. So the entire right side of my throat froze. I could feel no vibrations whatsoever in it. And obviously it was very concerning. And they were like, well, go home.
Leave.
So I know. And, I was going through speech therapy to try to get this back up in a way that wouldn't stress it out. And that's when we kind of figured out that I was having a secondary problem because I couldn't even get through the speech therapy. So I ended up going and medical care takes a million years, right? Like it's go to this specialist and then they got to book you another 2 months out, and it's like a whole thing. But yeah, and then I had the surgery, and so right after surgery, I had 1 week that I didn't work, and then they were like, "Hey, we have so many hours for you to record. Can you come back now?" Like it was like, please come, and please come scream. That was the other thing. There was a lot of yelling again. I just, I get the ones that yell. And, there was a Roxy had suddenly come back and Mushoku Tensei and was fighting all this stuff. And then Toka had like this big episode that I did. And that was right after the day I got back from being out for my surgery. So that was really difficult because obviously all of this still hurt because it affected like my entire abdomen. And I was all cut up, and I could feel that I was still cut up inside, and I'm sitting there going,
You're a trooper. Oh my
like,
god.
you know.
I don't want to hear anybody say that English voice actors don't try, because that's insane. Wow, I had no
Yeah.
idea.
So it was really difficult. Like I had to kind of, we paced it out, and obviously I couldn't really engage this. So again, I was leaning too much into up here, which you're not supposed to do, FYI. So if anybody wants to be a voice actor, do not put up here. You want your power down here, and because that causes the vocal strain too. So yeah, we just had to kind of balance it out and figure it out. It was it was wild.
Gotta get you back in tip-top screaming shape.
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Oh my lord.
So before we get to our audience questions, if you have questions, feel free to start lining up now. Amelie, I have to ask you about something because I saw a project that you do, and I just have to talk about it, and that is your Who's That Daddy?
Oh no!
I love the name.
Tell us about that,
What is this?
Amelie.
So I
Very
love the
intrigued.
name, so I have to ask about it.
So I so like 2 years ago I did a stream called "Who's That Mommy?" and it's like a pun on like the Pokemon, like "Who's that Pokemon? Clefairy." So we did like silhouettes of different like anime mommies, and me and stream had to like guess the silhouette, and it did really well, and I just like forgot about it, but it came back on my recommended. Weird that YouTube recommends me myself. Not sure what that says about me, but I was like, oh my god, we should do "Who's That Daddy?" And the thumbnail has, if you play the Lethal Company, there's a little character named the Bracken. If you don't know, so sorry. But yeah, it's just gonna be like a funny little stream, and obviously it's memorable. Obviously you saw it and you thought of it, and I'll live in your head rent free now for that.
100%.
Incredible, yeah. Yeah. No, it's great because you're like, who is that muscled man? I don't know.
So many.
Yeah, I know, really narrowing it down. I don't.
Hello, what's your name?
My name's Raven Ring. For my question for Michelle, what do you think would happen if Shion and Toka met each other?
Do you know what? Honestly, I think those two characters in particular would do really well together because they're just like empty head, no thoughts, and everything is about their man, right? So they would have so much in common. I feel like they would be at the sleepovers. They would be absolute besties. So I think that's actually a really good matchup. Now that I think about it, that's pretty great actually.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, I don't.
Hey, what's your name?
Oh, again.
Oliver.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
It's okay. I am too.
This this question's for Amelie.
Hello.
So I'm gonna word it this way because I feel like I know who you would say.
Okay.
Who's, other than Alejandro Seb, who's your favorite VTuber to collab with for videos and streams and etc.?
Ooh. Oh man, I have so many like favorite VTubers, but I haven't really collabed with a lot of them a ton. Obviously, me and Sayu have like so much banter back and forth. I also really like
Funny
Joel. Joel's great. I've loved working
Oh.
with Callie from Hollow Live a bunch of times. Haven't worked with her a ton, but I hope to in the future.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just have so many friends in the industry. How can you choose?
I mean,
but, yeah.
true.
I have collabed with them the most, so I will say them, I guess.
All right, cool. Joel's a pretty
Hey,
cool guy.
Yeah. They must be cool if I've worked with them a few times, I guess.
Of course. Cool guys always hang out together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
What? How does it feel to like? Because I've asked Alejandro this before.
Huh.
Like, have people cosplay as your OC?
It's so
and
cool.
stuff, and
It's
that's
literally so cool.
wild.
Because those costumes don't exist, so they're fully handmade.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, you're like a mega fan.
Super
Like, yeah.
cool,
No,
honestly.
it's really heartwarming. Sometimes I'll see like just a lone Sayu, and I'm
Yeah.
like, where is she? Like, yeah, it's great.
That's awesome.
Hello.
Hi, name's Belle. Pleasure to meet you guys. It's actually fitting. I had a voice acting question, and there was a lot of talk about vocal strain, and I actually wanted to ask for all three of you, what's like your #1 tip when it comes to voice self-care besides hydration? We all know hydration is important.
Oh, well, specifically about hydration, I started taking singing lessons because I was like, I feel like this would be a great way to actually learn how to take care of my voice. And in general, we get auditions where they ask us to sing, and I don't want to be trash. So I was like, let me see if I can find a musical theater teacher because I feel like more often than not, you watch Steven Universe, something like that. Like, it's
Lots of
very
overlap,
yeah, lots of overlap. And something that she told me was that you need to be drinking far in advance because if you're doing it on the day, it could actually make things worse, and also it just really doesn't do anything. So that's very important. Otherwise, like sometimes you can't really help but really go for it, and sometimes that means like this blood, curdling scream can't be super healthy. If you are at the end of a session, shut up. Like when you on your way home, don't talk. Drink lots of tea, stuff like that, because and don't try to push through it. I feel like I made the big mistake. I actually almost lost a job once because I was doing too much. I doing an audiobook 8 hours a day for like 4 days in a row. I was doing Musashi from Orient at the time, and then and then I was doing a prelay show, which also required me to be really big. And I was too afraid to tell my agent, like, can I have some breaks? Because I thought that, like, I would look better if I just showed up. And I was in the middle of my session for the prelay show, and I yelled, and my voice, like, went like that. And my director was like, that was weird. And I was like, yeah, let's do it again. I'm sure it's fine. I did it again. Same thing happened. She was like, so we're not going to do that again. And I said, okay. And I went home. And I was just like, I can't produce noise the way I want to. And so I told my agent, hey, I need to take a break. But at that point, I had done so much damage, I needed to take a long break. And they really, really needed like some stuff for me to record, to show the producers and all this other stuff. And they were like, can AJ do this? And I was like, yes, tell them yes. And luckily it worked out. But, you don't really think about that. You just want to do a good job and impress people. And I feel like more often than not, it's better for you to cancel a 4-hour session 2 hours in than to just blow out your voice and then you can't speak for a week or two. So yeah, that's very important.
Can I tag in a bonus question? Ear, nose, and throat doctors. What's your thoughts on that process? Does that kind of help as well?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you feel like your voice is damaged, it's always great to go to a professional. Really, anything, no amount of YouTube videos or like home remedies will really be able to fix a serious issue. If you're doing taxes, you go to a tax person. If you need help with your throat, you go to an ENT.
I have a funny story on that, actually.
Yes, please.
I was doing a very vocally strenuous role, and I was doing other stuff on the side, kind of the same thing, doing too much. Some of that stuff never came out, so you'll never know what I was busting my booty for. But I had to go to an ENT and get my throat scoped because I thought I had like a vocal tear or something because it was painful to yell or sing. And I learned that I actually have one working vocal cord. One does not work. So I had to do a bunch of like physical therapy, and I got these thing called vocal straws, and they're literally metal straws that you like blow into and like make like a tone, and it helps like condition your voice. And yeah, it is crazy. But yeah, I really got into vocal health after that because I was like, oh, I only have one. Like, yeah, it's like oh no, yeah. She's working hard, that one vocal cord. She's really doing it.
Michelle, do you have any?
I don't know. Like we've covered so much, but yeah, like the hydration thing, it's always actually pre-planning. It's actually what you drank yesterday that's affecting you today, which is very interesting, as well as like the balance of the minerals in your system and stuff. That's why things like Pedialyte and things like that, electrolytes are actually not just a buzzword, although they kind of get thrown into marketing. They are real. So you can actually kind of drink too much water and then wash all of that out, and that also affects your hydration and stuff.
It's interesting.
It is really interesting stuff. And then as far as like keeping the strain, again, you want your power coming from here, not here. So if you're yelling with your throat, if you're yelling with your chest, you're gonna strain your cords. So you want all of that power coming up from down here instead.
Yeah, and the voice is a muscle. You'll feel it.
Yeah,
feel
and
it if you're doing it
it
wrong.
is something you have to condition. Like it is a muscle, you have to build it up.
Appreciate it, guys. Lots of love. Thank you.
Yeah. Funnily enough, my first ever audition for Animate was JJK. And I was like, I'm going to be Sukuna. No, I'm not. You guys hear me, right? I sound like this. So but I was so worried about it. I really went for it. And I auditioned for every other character as well. And then I lost my voice. And they started recording like the week after. So even if I booked it, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. So yeah, take care of yourself.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Princess.
Hello, that's a love that.
So, thank you. So my question is, what would be the best advice or resource for people wanting to enter voice acting for a career?
There is, what is it? I want to be a
voiceactor.com.
voiceactor.com is the resource. I'm pretty sure anybody that's that started looking into voiceovers probably heard of that website. It
Yep.
is because it's been going for a very long time at this point. It's got a huge collection of advice, and
Everything.
I feel like, it is almost at this point a little too much advice. Like if you try to, you can get in the reads a little bit, but I think it's a resource that you can start out on and then keep referring back to as you're going through your journey when that applies to you as well. That's a really good starting point, I think, getting information and everything like that.
Yeah.
I agree. Just getting started, you guys have it really kind of awesome and easy right now because there are so many indie games out there. There's so many developers that are looking for voices. Just spaghetti at the wallet.
Online communities
Yes,
as well.
it's
That
huge
used to
now.
not be a thing.
It was
There's
never a
lot
thing
of
when I was
online
starting.
communities
Yeah.
now.
A big one that I usually tell people, because going to a con so often, you usually get the same questions. And like, I had a TikTok blow up, and all of a sudden I'm getting flooded with DMs, and like it's thousands of people asking the same question. And it's not a problem, but I always feel bad because people will say, how do I be a voice actor? And because they haven't done any research, it's really hard for me to give specific advice. So what I would say is before you spend any money or anything like that, this is always a good opportunity. You know, if we're here right in front of you, of course, ask your questions. But I would try your hardest to do as much Googling and YouTubing and TikToking as you can. And then when you get the chance to be in front of us, either at our table or something like this, you can ask something super specific about, you could be like, hey, AJ, what's your process for going through an audition? And it won't be too much for you to understand and wrap your mind around. So I think it's very important to do as much research as you can. And on top of that, just a small little tip is I Want to Be a Voice Actor is a great resource, and there's the Voice Acting Club is also a great resource. Has a website made by Kira Buckland and Discord as well. And there's so many of us in that. I think like 15 to 20,000, something like that. A lot of people. But the only thing that I would truly say always applies is to be a good person. Be a good person. Be nice to everybody you work with, engineer, director, otherwise. Artists, if you're commissioning prints, just be a nice person. It goes a long way. And if you are nice when you mess up, it looks a lot better. And you're gonna make mistakes and everything, but I'm a personal believer of there are no hard set rules. Because I would read those websites and they would be like, do not submit unless you have a resume and these demos and everything. And if I listened to that advice like fully, it would have taken me longer to achieve anything. So when you feel like you're ready, approach people respectfully, and even if they don't respond, they won't remember you in a bad way, and that's like the most important thing. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
of course. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'll try
So,
to cut
so
my.
we got about 10, 15 minutes
Yeah.
left, so we're gonna try to get through as many as possible. Hello.
Oh gosh.
Hi. Sorry, I'm really nervous. Hi, I'm Macy. My question is kind of what you just touched on. How is y'all's process for like getting agents and doing auditions?
Agents and auditions. That's a advanced
It's-
question.
Yeah, it's
Very
tough.
advanced,
Yeah, indie. So if you're doing if you're just starting off, there's like I said, Voice Acting Club is a good place to go because if you go on the Discord, they have it like separated by section, and there's a section for paid work, so stuff that's anywhere from $1 to $100 plus, and there's a section for unpaid work, and it compiles like all of the different auditions across all of the websites and put them in one place so you can see it, and you don't really have to worry about which website do I sign up for, where do I get it. As far as agents are concerned, that's a really hard question to answer. There are like steps you can follow, but all of us will give you a different answer as to how we got our agent. Like I was just saying, I didn't really have much of a resume or anything like that, but I believed I was good enough. So I was like, oh, well, how can I get in front of an agent? I'll take an agency workshop. And I took the agency workshop, not expecting to get anything. I asked all the questions that I would ask so that I can grow. It just so happened that they liked me and they offered me something. You can cold email. You could know somebody. There's so many different ways, and then they'll just send you auditions once you're with them. But for right now, it's more about being proactive with the opportunities you have, and that's usually Voice Acting Club is great. Twitter, Casting Call Club, those sorts of things. You can find them there.
All that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Leanne. I
Hello.
just wanted to ask, what are your inspirations and how old is it like to be a voice actor?
How
How old like is
how
it?
old do you have to be?
Yeah.
Oh, you can be any age. There's kids that are younger than me that are way better than me, and I hate it. For sure. Yeah, you can be. y- y- Yeah, I did Pokemon Path to the Peak. It was like a little short for Pokemon, and there was like a 5-year-old girl in there with us doing a group record. You can be any age. I think Steve Bloom didn't start until he was like 50.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't matter. If you want to voice act, you can voice act. As far as my inspiration, Troy Baker, Yuri Lowenthal, Great Lyle, who is also here, and others that I can't really think of. Oh, Miley Flanagan as Naruto is like so good. So
My inspirations are just my peers that get to work on cool projects, and I'm
so
like,
sweet.
oh, that's so cool. Like, I want to do that too. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. I would say my inspiration is more of the process of
Ah,
it. Like, I really like to act, and I really liked doing it growing up. That's why I did all that theater. But yeah, the emotions of it and everything, and getting that from an audience is really cool to me.
I also thank you, Amelie. You were my inspiration to become a voice actor.
Thank
Oh,
you.
cry.
Appreciate it.
You gonna cry?
Cheers.
You crying?
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, my
Crying?
name's Amon. My question is, y'all have all done a lot of different voice acting, and you've done a lot of different characters. I want to know which ones have y'all connected the most with?
Connected to the most?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
feel like I'm really similar to Maureen in My Dress Up Darling. I don't know. I really vibed with her, and I got to ad lib a ton of lines that actually made it into the anime. So I feel like I really get her. I feel like we'd be besties.
I think for me is Yamato, because interestingly, I had a pretty bad childhood, and some of the notes in there were like 1-to-1, and it was kind of crazy for a minute. So unfortunately, like that's the part that kind of connected to it. But yeah, I would say Yamato.
Man, I feel like there's so many different characters. I feel like when you you naturally just get connected. Because you have to instill some of yourself into the characters in order to really be authentic. However, it's very rare for me with anime, especially to connect, because it's a very technical process. So it can be very difficult for me to actually be emotional. Even sometimes people will be like, Takamichi, he cries so much. How do you do it? I'm like, I kind of just whimper in a cry-y way and hope it matches up with the lip flaps. However, I'm doing a character right now that will be announced very, very soon that I cannot wait to share with you guys, that I genuinely like almost cried multiple times while doing it. And I was like, what is happening to me? Is this what acting is? So I really hope that when it is announced and you guys do see it, that you like it. And if you don't, that's okay too. I'm really proud of it. But yeah.
Can't
Have
wait.
a wonderful day. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. You too.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Justin, and this question is for Amelie. So, in one of the shorts on your YouTube channel, you mentioned that you were surprised when you got the role of Jing Liu, since you normally don't get to voice those type of characters. Do you think there might be a connection with the fact you've been doing Monarch, who is kind of fits that role, that it might have helped with that process?
That's actually a great question. For Jing Liu, I actually did the audition way different than the voice that we did in the actual sessions, which happens sometimes. Sometimes the audition you book has nothing, like, they want to go a totally different direction, which is actually awesome because we got to kind of collab on her voice going forward, which was even cooler because I did kind of use my more mature voice for her, but they obviously wanted her to like a little bit more corrupted, a little bit more tormented. But yeah, I do love that ever since the birth of Monarch, I have been able to voice more of those kind of characters as cool girl characters. So hopefully more in the future. But yeah, she is different than anything I've done before.
I'm sorry. Why did you make Monarch that way?
Oh, I just like villains. I just
Yeah?
wanted to be a bad little, you know what.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's like a big bad.
Hello, my name is Miko, and my question is that if you ever play and or watch what you're in, does that ever like ruin it because you get the story spoiled, or like when you hear your voice, you're like, oh, I could have done better.
The story that happens to me more often with
We get spoiled
auditions.
constantly. Like
Yeah.
if we didn't go ahead and see it, or if it's stuff that's not out yet, because that can happen too, where we might be working on a show where the episodes we're recording them before they launch worldwide. You just kind of have to live with it in this job. Like you're gonna get constantly spoiled on something, and just kind of have to accept that.
Yeah, I love it. I love when it's a game that I'm streaming that I know that I voiced a character that's coming out. I'm always like, I wonder what's gonna happen now. Like it's a real mystery.
Thank you so much.
Does that ever happen to you, AJ?
When I've gotten auditions.
Ah.
Auditions all the time where I'm looking forward to something and I'll freak out because I'm like, oh, I know the thing is connected to this thing. Then I'll be like, oh man, I didn't want to know this. Darn it. But you know, the hype of being able to audition usually overwhelms that sadness. But yeah, it's happened from time to time. For
Thank
sure.
you. I don't know why, but that's just something I always wondered about voice actors, like seeing their own stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, I hate looking at my own stuff.
Thank you so much. Well, AJ, here's an audition for so-and-so's ghost.
Ah, dang it.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Izzy. So I have a question kind of building off of the previous question. So when doing voice acting work, do you have to only focus on your roles? Like, do you get to know the entire series, like the whole spoiler thing, or are you only designated to your roles just for the sake of privacy, in case, like, I don't know, one tiny thing slips for the privacy and reducing spoilers? That's it.
Generally, it's a need to know. So if you need to know it for your character and for you to do your performance, then you'll be told that side of the story. You won't necessarily know the greater, larger picture or the entire world. Really, it's just sort of you're fed kind of just what you need to be able to do your job. Yeah, I would say that you usually don't know the whole thing unless it's something that's already out or something like that.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
course.
Nice getting to see you in person.
Aw, nice meeting you.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Riley. I have a question for all three of you, actually. I've heard that voice acting can be far more exhausting than film acting because of the way you throw your voice. So what do you think would be your cap out for how many consecutive hours you could go in studio?
For voiceover?
Yes.
It would depend on the character. It is tiring, but it really does. If you're like sweating in the booth, just like trying to get that energy out and everything like that, you could tap out really quick. But when I was first cast as Takamichi and Shiki and Kemono Jihen, I had to do like 4 hours back to back multiple times. Because it was during the pandemic too, and they were like, "Well, you don't need time because you're right there. You just hop into the next Zoom call," which I didn't love. But like 8 hours, but I was always exhausted. I wouldn't do that for fun.
I max my sessions at 4. I know that nothing good's gonna happen after 4. Like my voice is just gonna be tired. I'm gonna ruin the next couple days. So 4 is normally my max.
Yeah, I would say it just depends on how vocally stressful it is. And actually, if you do a union project, there are rules around that. If it's vocally stressful, that it can only be 2 hours max. And they pay you a little bit more for that. In the non-union world, they'll book you for as much as you'll say yes to. But people kind of regularly do 8 hours, but I used to do that a lot. I don't do it so much anymore. But yeah, I would say 4 hours is kind of more of a comfortable space if there's not like a ton of screaming.
And if you're doing non-union, because of the Wild West aspect of it, it's very important that you stick up for yourself and you say, hey guys, maybe I don't do this right now. The scream at the beginning of the session, you know? So.
Thank you.
So we got time for another. We're gonna try to get as many questions as we can, but for another one or two. Okay. Yep, rapid fire.
Mine'll be really quick. My name's Tiffany. I'm here for Amelie.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Question. I first learned about you through your music. I was wondering, what's your favorite cover that you've ever done?
It's like choosing between children. I have like, you guys don't understand. I have like 400 covers, so it's really hard to choose. I really love the Uta covers that I did. Thank you so much. Yeah, they were not dubbed in the movie, but I had a very Thantos, I'll do it myself moment, and did all 6 myself, and I'm really proud of them. Hey, yeah. If I had to choose.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hello.
My name's Ramon, and I have a bit more of a general question. How do you deal with stuff like burnouts?
Then it's tough, at least with voiceover, because you kind of have to figure that out, how much you can handle. Like Fred Tatasciore can just work, and he loves working, and he can work all day. I can't. I do get burnt out really, really quick. Especially when, and you have to start mentally being like, okay, I'm doing this much work each week. You have to be picky with what you audition for, because if you're lucky enough to be voicing a couple main characters, or you have a lot of lines, for each thing you're doing, you might not have time to do anything else. And if you make the time, you're not going to have time to eat or sleep or anything, and it's gonna burn you out. Also, conventions can be, flying back to back to back to back to back is a lot. So it's more so about just checking in with yourself and making sure that you're good. But you have to figure it out for yourself. Yeah.
I'd say hobbies and things that you really love on the side are super important. Things that recharge you. You know what those things are. The things you want to do all the time. But it's also why I do so many things. I do music. I do streaming, voice acting, so I can kind of hip hop between them. Yeah.
I thought Valorant was that for me. It's not. It just makes me angry.
You play Valorant?
Yeah, all the time. Unfortunately, all the time.
I love playing Valorant and going, you got a mic, and just scaring all of my teammates. Anyways. What about you?
I'm always burnt out.
Yeah.
I have nothing.
You do a lot.
I'm like the Hulk.
You do a lot.
I do a lot. Oh, no. So don't ask me. I have bad advice.
So we are out of time. So here's what I want to do. Well, first off, you're going to be going back to your tables, and so if you have a question you want to get it asked,
feel free.
But what I want to do right now, on the count of 3, if we didn't get to your questions, just yell out your questions all at the same time. All right, 1, 2, 3, go.
Yes.
Please give it up one more time for Michelle Rojas, Amelie, and AJ Beckles. Before we go, if you guys want to come up here by the front of the stage, we're going to take a stage selfie.